"This stinks. What the hell is it?" It all began on June 19th, 2016, with this comment and a picture. The picture showed what appeared to be a blanket sitting on top of a concrete fence outside in the dark. It was the beginning of what would become known as the Smelly Futon incident, a mystery spanning several years. "It's just a futon, right? There's nothing inside it, right?" the original poster continued. The smell was apparently so bad that they didn't want to, or perhaps couldn't, get close to it. "There's a liquid dripping from it," the user continued, posting another blurry photo, apparently because they had to use the zoom to get in close. It was far too smelly to actually approach. Other users were of course convinced that the blanket had to be hiding a dead body inside. Why else would it smell so bad? Why would it have been dumped outside at night? And why else would anyone be posting on Nichan about it? The original poster confirmed that it smelt raw, like blood, which pretty much sealed the deal. Everyone was convinced the OP had a dead body on their hands. The story took a turn shortly after midnight, when the original poster returned with another message. "I went to take another photo, and an old lady called out to me, asking if I was someone suspicious." Everyone laughed that this middle-aged woman would so brazenly ask a person if they were suspicious, while others assumed that she was the true criminal mastermind behind the stinky blanket. The woman claimed to be a member of the neighborhood association, and when the OP recommended they call the police about the offending blanket, she apparently refused and said that she would deal with it herself. Suspicions rose once more that this woman was really to blame and she was simply going to hide the evidence. Something wasn't right. About 20 minutes later, the OP mentioned that they were going to go and take a look again and see if the woman was still there. She was. They devised a plan to put out their cans and bottles for recycling the next day to get a better look, apparently telling a friend that if they didn't get in contact in the next 10 minutes, to alert the police. This time, the woman was gone, and so was the blanket. It had apparently left a stain on the fence, and the area still smelt bad. In fact, it smelt a little worse than before. OP took the long way home just in case, and about 15 minutes later, the story took yet another turn. The blanket was back, in a new spot. At 1:30 a.m, the OP disappeared for a while, returning at 2:45 to claim they felt dirty and they were going to take a shower to get rid of the smell. The thread exceeded the 1,000 comment limit, so everyone moved over to a new one, where the OP finally returned at 3:08 a.m. with an update. The police had apparently been alerted around 1:30, and that was why the user had disappeared for a bit. They were being questioned about the stinky blanket. "I don't have much time and I can't give you any details, sorry. All I can say is, if you want information, check the news." It seemed that whatever was in the blanket, it really was a police matter. Had everyone been right about it being a body all along? "Can you at least tell us what was inside it?" one person asked. "The police said it's better not to ask," OP replied. After that, the user disappeared for 2 weeks, before finally returning to give the full story. Everyone was dying to know what was really going on. The OP claimed that they could smell something really bad outside while they were at home one night, so they went out to check. They found the futon on top of the fence, which frightened them, and the terrible smell seemed to be coming directly from it. It was also dripping some kind of liquid. While taking a photo of the mystery blanket, the old woman showed up and asked if they were someone suspicious. They explained that they'd found the smelly blanket and were contemplating calling the police, but she said that she would deal with it, so not to worry. OP found this strange because the following day was the day for bottle and cans pickup. So how was the woman going to deal with it? They went back inside and decided to put their own recycling out and perhaps get a better look at what was going on. At this point, the futon had disappeared, and scared, OP decided to take the long way home in case the woman was watching them. It was here that they found the futon had been discarded somewhere else instead. They realized something terrible was going on, so they alerted the police and ran to the nearest convenience store to wait for their arrival. They returned in a patrol car to the scene of the crime, and then went to the police station for questioning. One of the officers apparently checked what was inside the blanket and confirmed there was a high possibility that something had taken place. Police then took the user's fingerprints and a print of their shoes because, in OP's own words, it seemed police suspected them of committing the crime. During questioning, a message came in over the wireless that they'd arrested someone suspicious at the scene, and because it was so late, they sent the user home and promised to continue the following day. The user took the following day off work and went back in for more questioning, where they were shown photos of 10 different people. Police asked them if any looked like the woman who claimed to be from the neighborhood association. The user clearly remembered what she looked like, but her photo wasn't there. The police came back with even more photos, and this time she was. Police asked if OP knew the woman, to which they replied they didn't, and questioning continued until the evening when they were finally free to go. Police called the user in again the following day, and it turned out that the woman claiming to be from the neighborhood association was indeed the criminal. Police questioned her when they found her loitering nearby and discovered that she had a knife on hand. They took her to the station for questioning, where she turned violent and attacked police. They found whatever had been abandoned inside the blanket back at her house, and so she was formally arrested. OP had apparently been close to being murdered themselves, and it was their prudence in not getting too close that had saved them. The user ended with a message that they were going to return to the scene to leave some flowers. Another user asked if they could finally tell them what was inside, and they finished with the following: "Take a guess from the flowers." But was the incident true? At the very least, there were pictures. It wouldn't be impossible for someone to drag a blanket outside to stage a few photos for Nichan, but was this really the case? Was someone trolling, or had they really come across something horrific? The user gave zero details as to where this supposedly took place. Looking into news on and around the date brings up nothing either. If it did appear on the news, then it might have only been local, or considering the mental state of the woman involved, it's possible that police never made an official announcement of the crime either. Police in Japan are not required to do this when the person arrested is suspected of being mentally ill or insane at the time of the crime. This is to protect their identity, and if the police made no official announcement, then that's another possibility for why the incident potentially never made the news. 3 years later, someone posted an interesting thread on Nichan titled, "The Consequences of Going Outside to See What the Bad Smell Was." They prefaced their thread with, "This story is fiction. All characters, organizations, and names are fictitious and have no connection to living things or incidents whatsoever." The rather lengthy thread was, in essence, a transcript of police questioning a person over the smelly blanket incident that had taken place 3 years earlier, and the contents of the blanket were apparently revealed. It was, as many people suspected, a baby. At least, in this fictional account. 3 years later, there's no way to confirm whether this thread was posted by the same person. There's no way to tell whether this story was indeed someone posting a fictional tale that took the smelly blanket incident as a basis for its story, or whether it was really the OP hiding behind fiction to deliver information that they otherwise weren't legally allowed to mention. It's a mystery that remains to this day. But if the story was to be believed, then the contents of that blanket sadly really were as morbid as people had suspected all those years ago. Was the original incident true? Was the fictional follow-up several years later really fictional? Was it all a lengthy troll from the very beginning? Or was it a terrifying incident that started with one person's curiosity and ended up being a real crime? It's difficult to tell, because for every crazy mystery that comes across as obviously fake on Nichan, there are others that have been proven real. The very nature of Nichan makes it difficult to prove or disprove things posted there, even when pictures are involved. It's possible that someone was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, but it's also possible that it was nothing more than an elaborate story that others picked up on and continued to spread years later. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you again next time.